Right there at the end of the ad break, we just had a resub. Buck2 just set us up with a 12-month resub, so congratulations for qualifying for a part 2. And more importantly, thank you for subscribing for such a damn long time. We're kind of getting, like I said, close to solo cast territory here where, man, I was really hoping the clarity would kick in by now. If it doesn't, I'll just end up going mute mode and observing what Zymeria casts, but again, trying to keep her from being stuck in that position. Nice thing is, though, escape, please.
Are you messaging ByuN?
Yeah, since you suck at it.
Well, then I won't, because then he'll feel like he's harassed.
Yeah, I messaged him. But it was, yeah, so to explain where we're at, guys, I'm a little bit, my allergies just hit me hard this morning, and Claritin's not really clearing it up. But we are trying to get into game 2 now of ByuN versus TAiLS, or maybe it's game 3, I don't actually know, but I messaged ByuN to invite us. He said okay, and then the winner of that will play the winner of Labyrinth versus Scarlet. Bottom side of the bracket, Keen versus Mamuri plays, and that's another one where if we couldn't get ByuN, I would have liked to have seen that one as well.
Sure, and Slowkey's going up against Natural, and there's actually some pretty good matches, and the next round would be really a lot greater too.
Yeah, we will be casting probably both the semifinals and the finals.
Yeah, at this rate.
It's a short bracket anyways. Folks are gonna be. I know folks are going to be asking about it, so I'm just going to inform you guys about the IEM qualifier stuff. First off, we weren't invited to cast the European one, even though I think we could probably just show up anyways. However, we wanted to commit to the Olimoleague, as we always have, because this is been funded by you guys for over a year now, the Patreons. And, well, technically casting IEM would be better viewership for us. We definitely have like this allegiance to the Olimoleague, so choosing to pick to cast that today instead. The North American qualifiers, though, will be covered later today. If I'm not feeling super terrible, maybe I'll rejoin Fear Dragon for that. But at the very least, Fear Dragon will be covering it.
Yeah. Yep. I have been reading this "What stupid questions have you always been too afraid to ask" thread since last night.
Okay.
And I love when this thread pops up, because it pops up like once every couple like months, I suppose, like every 6 months or something. And I have like 50% of these questions, you know? So
hit me with a couple of these stupid ass questions.
Okay, I was just laughing at the people with bidets in their toilets. What do you when you finish shitting and washing your ass? Wow. What do you do after? Pull up your pants, wipe with toilet paper, waddle to a towel. Someone says pat with toilet paper, and then someone replies with, in the manner of dabbing the corner of one's mouth with a napkin.
Perfect. So ByuN just invited me. Yeah, it's 1-0 for him at the moment.
Oh, God.
I mean, I can kind of see that, because you don't want to be, like, getting all rough and tough with the... For those who don't know what a bidet is, that area is down below and rather, we'll say, sensitive.
There's another one. When does lesbian sex start? When does it turn from third base into a home run?
I actually want to debate that one in a second, but Foonly just set us up with a 20-month resub, and so did Brathorley for 5 months. Thank you guys so much.
But
There's
there's a great debate about that one, so you'd be in good company.
Well, so the interesting thing about sex, right? Like, the reason I bring this back is I don't remember if it's Mormons or which religion it is, but they've got that thing called soaking, right? Where, for those who don't know what this is a real thing. Believe me, it's so fucking stupid. I know it sounds fake. Where it doesn't count as sex, and it doesn't count as, like, going against their religion, as long as you just sit there and basically lay still inside of the girl. You literally just stick it in and don't move, and somehow that's okay, doesn't count as sex, etc. So when it comes to that, how do you define that versus lesbian sex? I think would be the better question, instead of like when does lesbian sex start, because that would give you the answer to when does lesbian sex start, right?
I think for majority of people, they would say that thing that you're talking about is still sex, and that they're just weird and whatnot.
Well,
but a lot of people always, like, I think it's error to say that sex is like penetration, like penis to vagina, which is like the usual definition of it.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like there's a direction you could go on this that is, man, this is just fucked for the bots, right? There's a direction you can go on this where you talk about genders, right? Like, okay, there's male and female physical genders, but then like you look at it through the other aspects, like what do you identify as, and this, that, and the other, right?
Sure.
Sex, I feel, could be in a small way categorized like that, but for me, basically anytime there's penetration to any regard, I think that's like the male and
Yeah,
female version like of saying like
because
that's sex.
it also depends on what your versions of the bases are, because no one has the same bases, right? Like there's like elementary school bases where
My
like, their
bases are a
base
little
is
bit
like a
droopy.
hand on a boob, but to adults their base means something really different. It was just a very interesting question. I'm glad that person asked it. Anyway,
Well, let's get these intros done for this super professional broadcast
cut
here
the
on Base
bottom
Trade
right
TV
there.
for the Olimoleague. In the bottom right, we've got the Orange Protoss TAiLS.
in the top left as the blue Terran, he is ByuN, and he's back. He loves us again.
Sort of, for now-ish, I guess.
Well, he's not in the SSL or GSL, so I don't know where he'd leave, and he doesn't want to be in the Chinese team anymore. Come
Yeah,
back to us. You know
that's
you've always
actually-
missed us.
That's really interesting because I wonder how much of that was contract versus preference to play in this, that, the other, right? Shout out to Story Blair for the 8-month resub really quick. But Relaine asks in chat, what does funding a tournament cost? Can I fund one with $2,000? So let's talk about that actually. I guess we've never really discussed the costs behind things because in a technical world, like we could host a tournament like the Corsair Cup for $100. Well, $125 because we'll pay $25 to have an admin or something. You have $100 for the prize pool, and it all stops there. But for other things like Ting, for example, well, I can't go into the specifics with you guys. They're paying us for our time to not just cast and not just admin, but also organize and constantly schedule with the players. So it's going to vary from person to person and who you're working with and what you're working for. Because like I said, again, like Corsair Cup, we write it off easy because it's our thing for our sponsor. But with different streamers and different casters, it could cost different amounts. But it's always going to cost more, or should, excuse me, always cost more than the basic prize pool. Kind of interesting scout there for TAiLS, by the way, see if there's a natural.
Yeah.
As we just see a proxy factory down here. But just finishing that point up before we get into the game, because this, with the Robo, should be fine to defend against this. If you're looking to host any sort of big tournament, a lot of it's going to come down to time commitment as extra costs. The longer the tournament is, the bigger the tournament is, that's going to cost more. But other than that, basic prize pool, small tips for the casters and the people involved organizing, you're good to go.
Good overview, yeah. It was funny because he tried so hard to pull his probes one apart.
I know, and then they all stacked on the other side of the Nexus, right, at the last second. So
Oh, God.
this ends up being a little bit interesting to me because the proxy factory became more than just the Widow Mine. Like, a Widow Mine proxy factory is nothing crazy, but he follows this up with a tank,
Yeah.
which is enough to provide some very scary pressure.
It is really important that TAiLS would get a secondary scout. That Mothership Core is kind of at an odd time where, like, you know, maybe if you're one base, you haven't quite put down your command center, but now if you got a scout in that natural, it'd be like, okay, I guess you're just not going up for a command center, which is very different than other, like, one base openers. Some actually do go into a bit of, even greed, even like 3rd CC. So it would be important for him to know. He had, like, decent setup, but and already taking a bit of damage on the probes, and just, you know, the pylons going down without really doing a whole lot is already setting ByuN into a pretty good position. And the Stalker's all types of clumped up right there. That sucks.
The Immortal comes in, but of course, as we pick up with the Medevac and start shuffling around, I guess with that tank line being right here, does decide to focus on top of the Immortal. Nice pickup, Micro. Of course, you can't disjoint an Immortal shot, but you can screw with what it's shooting on its cooldown. Very well done there out of ByuN. Now, he does lose a lot of the Marines, and this takes away a certain degree of the pushing power, but the Liberator's now covering the tanks. And I have not seen anyone pull off a push like this versus Protoss at all in this entire expansion, but I'm loving it.
This is... It's also so funny because it's working at a very, like, not abusive angle, you know? Oh my god, he's trying to micro so well with these tanks. It wasn't in the back behind the rocks and he built, like, a bunker and stuff. It was just right in front of the ramp, which was, you know, plenty of surface area, like, fine concave. Wasn't quite touching, like, important units, but
Boost,
it looks like
boost.
ByuN... Oh, Jesus.
Oh my
He
god.
might still die, though. Like, TAiLS did hold that without pulling probes, and
Yes.
ByuN still is only on one base.
Well, the worker count's still somewhat similar, and it's enough to saturate one base. So TAiLS will only have a little bit of extra mining. Oh, we don't have graphs on. Can't show it. But as you guys can see down here, like TAiLS only has a little bit of extra mining for now. He's not producing more probes, so he's not going to be jumping ahead anytime soon. So ByuN being stuck on one base like this isn't that bad yet. It's going to be, though, as time goes on further. But with more Liberators on the way and a follow-up push, Actually, defending might be a better choice for ByuN. Like, he defends, deflects, and counters, but this is going to be a tough hold. That's a lot of
Yeah.
adepts.
And if he pushes out, then that's just going to mean the Liberators have less likely of a chance of actually getting like those really good shots. In fact, they're the first ones to come through here. They got to back off. Luckily, there's no like blink. There's not that many stalkers, so they survive. Should probably be trying to kill that Warp Prism.
Yeah, I think he's thinking about that too. But the Liberator's going to anti-ground mode. Tank's gonna hold the backside of this. Marine's gonna focus on the Immortal instead of the Warp Prism.
Yeah, that tank almost went down. That was good focus fire from TAiLS, like bringing the Immortal in the back lines. That was really cool. Unfortunately, he stopped using the Stalkers, which might have been able to start either poking at the medevac or killing the tank.
Oh, that Warp
ByuN
Prism
actually does hold.
ByuN also will probably need to repair this tank if he wants to do any more shenanigans. Yeah, so let's see if he's getting pulled to do precisely that. He did start building more tanks on here, and he's rallied them in a strange way to kind of hide them off to the side for now. So he's got the medevacs down here. He's got more tanks. That medevac micro out of ByuN has seriously been insane so far this game.
Yeah, it's certainly what's been making this like an even trade. And in fact, one is now favoring ByuN as his army supply is up by 10 still, and he has the decent amount of SCVs. TAiLS is not building any more probes, and I find that very curious because it's not like he's at 0 minerals all the time, and 26 probes still isn't a fully saturated 2 base. He's going all in with this, and I don't think that's actually the right move.
No, look at this. He's getting obliterated in doing so. 2 of the tanks are brought back. Okay, the Warp Prism's still a bit of a problem. No focus fire on it, but GG gets called, and ByuN. Huh. Wow, what a game 2.
Okay. Yeah, I just think that was a really wrong move from TAiLS to counter like that. What made him feel like the necessity of all-inning?
Just straight up macro may have been the better choice. I'm unsure, but either way, that was a great game out of ByuN to watch play, because like that tank micro, I can't even, like, for people who have never tried to do this, like who haven't experienced the pain of trying to micro against a unit that has no projectiles like an Immortal, like it's insane watching him get away with it. It is that gif of Jesse from Breaking Bad. Like, he can't keep getting away with it. Like, it's just insane.
Thanks to XL Smash LX for the 23-month resub.
23 years. Damn. By the way, speaking of this, yesterday, if you guys didn't see the results, Neeb actually beat ByuN, like 4-1 or something stupid.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, there's proof that ByuN is not untouchable. But there's also proof that this guy is seriously really hard to touch.
Yeah, it's actually akin to when he lost 4-0 to Nurchio. Didn't that happen?
Yeah, like he'll find these foreigners who can seem to knock him down when no other Korean can.
Yeah, it does seem to be at a very bad time. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, Neeb's a really good player. I think he could beat ByuN
it's
actually
cross server and there's all this, that, and the other, but
that does help make it go 4-0 instead of like a 4-2 or something.
Yeah. Well, so that's unfortunately the end of that series, so we're going to have to wait a little bit, but what's nice is Labyrinth and Scarlet should be finishing up their series relatively soon, as they did start around the same time. I would guess they're in game 2 or 3 right now. The winner of that will go on to fight against ByuN in the semifinals.
They're probably in pretty long games. They definitely started at like 8:05. Oh, well.
So, I already have some hate messages on Twitch. People complaining about our discussions. Here's the thing, guys, before we say anything. I'm not looking to get preachy. I'm not even looking to get mad. I just want to make a very objective statement. Where you clicked on a button that said you recognize that there's mature content on this channel in order to watch the channel. So if you feel like you're not comfortable with what's here, then feel free to leave. But we will discuss any topic at any time. Like,
yep.
Anyways, so we'll go to a break, I guess, and hopefully in 2 minutes or so we'll know where Scarlet and Labyrinth are at. Alternatively, Keen has already beaten Mamuri, so he might fight against Soulkey or Nashroll in the semifinals down there. We'll be casting both semifinals either way, so you will see ByuN, you will see Keen. It depends on when. So, small break, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes.